When I was at work, my coworker was hiding in a corner. He's only 19 and this is his first job. I've been training him in both ways: how to do the work and how to act at a job. He clearly has no idea how to act at a job. I've told him before he always has to stay busy. If he has nothing to do, find something, or ask the supervisor if there's any work for him. This is what happened today. We both share a room, but the room is split by a wall. While I was at my desk, I was talking to two people. I didn't hear any noise from his area, and I stopped in the middle of the conversation and went over there. He was standing in the corner with his arms crossed, and I said, "This pallet over here with these empty boxes on it need to be thrown away and taken out to the dumpster. And there's work that needs to be done on your computer. So stop hiding." Then I went back to the conversation. Few minutes later, I saw him just standing around doing nothing. I secretly told the supervisor these two things he was doing, and my supervisor went up to him and told him to clock out and go home. He was only at work for 3 hours. If you're wondering what job this is, it's a warehouse job. But what do you think? Was he too tough on the new guy? Or did he have it coming? Let me know in the comments below. Made a fake complaint about myself to trap my HR manager. I had this HR manager at work who clearly was trying to get me fired because I corrected her in a meeting one time about the company policy. The rule was, if you had a complaint made about you and your work, the HR manager and the operations manager had to sit in a meeting to discuss the complaint and create a correction plan if needed. I made a false complaint about myself over the phone anonymously and gave dates and times. I was either working with the operations manager or off of work completely. She took the bait and filed for me to be put on last strike and recommendation for suspension without pay. I sat in the meeting and let her tear into me like a bitch, and she added items to the complaint that were not in my fake submission. She was screaming at me, and she finished by saying if it was up to her, you would be let go on the spot. I let her finish and looked at my ops manager and said, these dates I wasn't on duty and was actually out of state on PTO, and he lit up saying one of the days I was with him on a job. Boy, oh boy, did the ops manager tear her a new asshole, and he filed a complaint against her for unprofessional manner. No, she did not get fired. But let's just say a secondary HR person had to be hired, and she wasn't allowed to contact me going forward. Nobody likes a hostile work environment, but this next guy seems to have figured something out. I staged a robbery to steal from the store where I work. I work for a chain of 24-hour stores. Some time ago, I was working overnights. I hated it. It made me fully nocturnal to the point that the sun actually burned my eyes when I went out during the day. I hated the store, hated my town, and hated all of my coworkers. Because of all this, I was bordering on suicidal, so I would fantasize about just taking the money and leaving for good while I stocked shelves. Did this every night for months, but I knew jail would be worse, so I never did it. Well, one day I was venting to a good friend about how I was feeling, basically telling him a lengthier version of that first paragraph. I figured he would tell me I'm going crazy, and I should quit and find a new job I don't hate so much. Instead, he and I came up with the idea to stage a robbery and take the money together. We took about 2 weeks to plan, and I even called out of one shift so we could hammer out the fine details. The plan was that he would come in wearing a full face mask, long sleeves, and gloves, so that you couldn't tell his ethnicity on the cameras. I also knew all of the camera dead spots, so we planned his escape route in such a way he couldn't really be tracked by them. We had the whole thing rehearsed and ready as if we were putting on a play. So the night finally comes, and I had him wait until my coworker went on break so we wouldn't have an extra variable to plan around. He walks in during our deadest time of the night, and we start really playing up the whole thing. He's pointing this fake gun in my face, I'm putting my hands up, shaking my head, all that. He has me lead him to the office where he makes me empty the safe for him. Then he has me empty the registers for him on his way out. I give him a few-minute head start while I pretend to be rattled and catch my breath. Pretend I can't stop shaking enough to dial 911. And finally go alert my coworker that we were robbed, and I was too freaked out to do it myself. The cops show up and take my statement. I told them he spoke with an accent that he did not. I fed them a lot of false info to take any suspicion away from my friend. My coworker saw nothing from the break room, so he couldn't give any info himself. It's corporate policy to give robbers whatever they want, so I got in no trouble at all. As a matter of fact, they paid me a bonus for handling it so well. They also took me off overnight shifts. Later, I told them I wasn't comfortable here anymore, so I put in for a transfer to the town I'd always wanted to live in. That process got expedited due to the situation. I'm not confessing to get it off my chest so much as I am, because I couldn't be happier I did it. My life turned around immediately, and I have never been happier since I was a kid. Used the money to finally start college. Looks like things are going well for that guy. Can't say so much for this next one. I eat customers' leftover food at work, and the worst part is my excuse. So I work at a fast casual Asian eatery, and we have really good, healthy food specialized around teriyaki bowls and sushi. I also frequently forget to eat snacks before work, so I usually find myself in the middle of a 5-hour shift completely famished. So every time I go to bus a table and the customer has left behind some untouched steak or a few sushi rolls, I take the dishes to the back and eat it. I think none of my coworkers know, though I've almost been caught a few times. I don't think they'd be angry, maybe just a little grossed out. My justification for it all is that it builds my immune system, though in reality, I'm just a poor college student with an affinity for sushi. I stole a chair from work worth about $400, and I am freaking out. I have no idea why I did it. I have a fantastic job that I love, and I am actually good at. I get paid an amazing wage, and it has made it so I can afford to support my family, which is about to get bigger, literally any day now. I work in a smallish corporate environment that is fairly well funded and has been going through a decent bit of growth lately, which lead to our one boardroom in the basement getting new chairs for meetings, approximately 26 chairs. Well, shortly after that purchase was made, we did another round of hiring and found that it was way too crowded and started doing our almost weekly meetings at a different venue. And now this boardroom sits largely unused, at least to full capacity, and there are all these awesome chairs. I have worked there for several years, so I'm confident I know of all the cameras in the area, and I used the back door to quietly stash the chair in my truck under a blanket while my other crew members were on break. I'm 99% sure I will get away with this. But why the fuck did I just put my entire life on the line for a goddamn chair? What the fuck is wrong with me that I would risk my career? My skill set is highly specialized, and the industry is closely knit. Oh my god, I thought it was so funny when I planned it was giggling and texting a buddy my plan, and then I just did it, and now it's done. And I feel like I'm going to puke.